Welcome back to another episode here. Today I want to talk about the importance of letting things fall apart and the benefit of letting things fall apart in the long run. And what ends up happening is that if you're a high performer, like many of the high performers out there, you don't like things to fall apart. You don't like things to fall through the cracks. And as a result of that, you are overcompensating. You are doing things you probably shouldn't be doing. And you are going from one task to the next task to the next task or the next project or the next client or the next initiative, the next business or whatever it is, without actually having a proper system in place. So I'm very much a systems guy. In fact, the work that we do when it comes to human potential is all about developing systems and particularly an architecture. So what we call human potential optimization architecture is all based on the system of a human being, because we as human beings, we have a system. We have a system that we've developed in our professional life, and we have a system that we've developed in our personal lives. The question, though, is, are those systems that we have effective? Because many of our systems are not effective, and I'm going to get into why they're not effective in the first place. But the reason why it's so important to not overcompensate in the long run is because you never improve the system. The system doesn't get better, and therefore you're constantly playing a game of catch up. And this is very, very common. This happens in people's workplaces. It can happen with your team. It can happen with your executive team. It can happen with your board of directors. It could even happen in your relationship. It can happen with your relationship with your spouse or your kids. But if you don't have a proper system in place, which requires not only outlining the architecture, okay, so that's the first part of having a proper system. What does the actual architecture of the system look like? You got to map it out. If it's not mapped out, how are you going to identify if it's actually working well? Within the system, you then have processes, right? The steps. And then you also have the technology. You have the information that's required. But most importantly, you also have the people that are required to make the system optimal and improve the system as you go. And I know this sounds very much like a professional thing, but this is very much applicable to your personal life as well. If you are in some kind of a relationship where you are feeling like you are doing more than the other person, and just to keep that relationship together, or keep that family unit together, or keep whatever type of engagement that you have together, it could even be a client relationship. If you're going above and beyond and not letting the system fail, you're going to continue to expend energy and not be very effective. So one of the core things when it comes to human potential is being optimal, being efficient with your resources, being efficient with your time, being efficient with your energy. And if you never let things fall apart, you don't know precisely where your energy is actually falling short or where things are falling through the cracks so that you can actually address them. So let me just sum it up. If it sounds like I'm talking gibberish here, it's fundamentally this principle. You have to let things fall apart to make them better. Because if you never let things fall apart, whether that's a work thing or a personal thing, a relationship thing, if you don't let things fall apart, if you're the one that's overcompensating, you're going to continue on that pattern. So I want to bring this to light because I see this very much in the business world today. I see this in people's personal lives, and I see the impact that it has on them. And this is a recipe not only for ineffective performance and potential, but it's also a path to burnout. And I talk about this all the time. I think this is extremely important for us as business leaders to think about and talk about and bring this to light, because we need to address this not only for the results that we are achieving in our business. So I just did a session for a little workshop for a group of CEOs, and it was fairly common and consistent, where the CEOs addressed and did acknowledge that people's productivity has dropped over the last 5 years or so. And what used to take them X amount of time, it's taking them X plus. So people are taking longer. It's taking them more energy to do the same type of work. And one of the reasons why this is happening is because people are trying to overcompensate, and they're not letting the system fail, and they're not finding out what the cracks are, as I mentioned before, and not fixing the cracks. We have this innate tendency as human beings to want to do things for other people, to want to do things for the greater good, but sometimes that holds us back. And as leaders, we have to identify that. I have this conversation with many CEOs, and I say, nope, you got to let that fail. You got to let that fall apart. And they're like, no, this is going to be catastrophic to our business. Like if I don't hold these people accountable, if I don't jump in and do this or do that and make sure that things are going the way it should go, then we're going to lose this massive project or client, and it's going to tank our results, and I could eventually lose my job. Well, my question then is, how long have you been doing this for? And if it's for a short period of time, that's okay. But if it's been for an extended period of time, if this thing becomes a habit or routine or extends over a period of time, that's the key sign for you that it's about time to start thinking about how you can let things fall apart. It's not an easy decision to make. It can be a very tough decision, but it's a very important decision. It can be one of the most important decisions you make, both in your professional life and in your personal life. So, sum it up. If you're constantly playing catch up, if you're constantly overwhelmed or feeling low energy or even low drive, and you're going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, it's because you probably haven't advanced or improved your system or even created a system in the first place, because you're trying to overcompensate. Let things fall apart so you can find out what's not working and ultimately fix it.